Hi, everybody, and welcome to our second webinar here at Send. I am Barak Friedman, and I will be your host today. I'm the Product Marketing Director at Send, and I'm very much excited to present you to Netanel Ben-Ami. Netanel, how are you?
Hi, very well. How are you, Barak?
I'm doing great. I will quickly say a disclaimer that you are one of our social media heroes. You're managing the social media here at Elementor, but that's not the main reason why we wanted to have you here today. Maybe you can share with us what is the main reason we asked you to join.
Well, I'm owning a WooCommerce store who uses Send.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons that we wanted to include Netanel in one of our sessions to hear from an actual user what is it to use Send and how you can elevate your store using Send. But Netanel, maybe before we'll jump, tell us a little bit about your store. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to open this great startup called Back to Light.
So one of my biggest hobbies is photography, and I've been collecting film cameras since I was very young. So I just had so many of them, and those that were working, I used for taking pictures. But some of them were broken because it's film cameras. Most of my models were older than 40 years. So I had to come up with some sort of an idea of what am I doing with all of these models that I now have on my shelf. We speak in dozens, to be honest. So it came to me this concept of how they used to capture light, right? Like film rolls were capturing light, and this is how pictures were taken. And now they are broken, they can't capture light anymore, so maybe they can spread it. And this is how I started thinking about making those lamps created out of broken cameras. So it started as a hobby. I was just having them in my apartment, then giving to my friends as gifts. But many people showed interest. So I figured, you know what, why don't I just make it a little bit bigger and start a whole project out of it? I've been a web creator since I was very young. Probably I was building websites all the time. And every time I had some sort of a side project, the first thing that I would do is just building a website for it. And this is how I started my website.
So you basically took a hobby of yourself, collecting all the cameras, together with an additional hobby that you have, capturing and using
Yeah.
those cameras, and turn it into a thriving business. That's quite inspiring, I must say.
Yeah, it is. And I'm so excited about it. So I'm so happy to be here and talking about it today.
I think when you told me about your website, about your e-commerce store, one of the other things that you told me was the moment that you realized that you have some kind of an abnormal happening in your website. Back then, you called it an abnormal. Now we know that it's relatively a normal behavior of an e-commerce store. But can you please share with our viewers today what was the actual phenomenon that you saw?
So let me share my screen. So my website. This is a very simple website. Basically, you go in, choose the model you like, add it to your cart, fill out the details, and complete the purchase. It's so simple.
But it's really inspiring to see how you gave new life for all those cameras. So kudos for that. Once again, you're too modest with your side project. I can tell you that.
Thank you. So just like everyone who probably when they build something out of passion, every creator loves to track performance. So my favorite website is actually my orders tab. And once my website started generating more and more traffic, I noticed that there is a weird status where orders are canceled. Now, I don't have any option to cancel the order on the website. Like people who came to this point needed to give me their details, share with me their information, and then the purchase was never completed. So it wasn't clear to me how this could happen. So I just reached out to these people since I have their information details.
Do you like manually reached out to those people
Oh yeah.
one by one?
Uh-huh.
Oh, talking on dedication, Netanel, that's impressive for itself. What did you
Yeah.
discover when you reached out to them?
I asked them, like, did you have a problem completing your purchase? Because I saw that you chose a model, you filled out your details, hence I have your email, but you never completed the purchase. Did you experience any technical issue? I found out that, like, most of them actually just forgot their credit card in another room, and they were too lazy to go and get it. Like, this is a story that came again and again. This is how funny it is. So it was kind of a shame because people were so passionate, they were so ready to buy, and then something distracted them. they forgot to come back. Some of them actually thanked me to reminding them, and they completed the purchase.
So there is nothing wrong with your website. The setup is perfect, but I think the only bug that you can think of is that you're lacking any automation because your time is so precious. I can't imagine reaching out one by one yourself. And at this point, you're reaching out to us. What made you actually choose Send over other solutions out there?
I didn't have the time to go and compare different services. I didn't have the time to go and study it. This website was my side project, but also I just wanted to make sure I'm going on a safe choice. Knowing that Sand was created by Elementor and is also designed for WordPress. It's not like a third party kind of thing. It always scary to install new plugins on your website. And knowing it's coming from the people who built Elementor, I actually felt safe. So I just went ahead and asked for the zip file to test it.
And you actually got it as an early access user and to test how things are working on your website in a production environment. And we were very much relieved to see that everything is working quite smoothly. Of course, we had some kind of a hiccups, and that's normal in the phase that we are currently. But maybe now you can share your screen and share how you build the flow of the abandoned cart.
For sure. Basically, once I installed the plugin, it was super straightforward. Like this is the interface. Now, I didn't have campaigns at the time, so I just went to the campaigns tab and started a new campaign. I didn't have a lot of time, so I just figured I'll go use a template. And then I saw all the different scenarios that could work for me, but I chose the one that has to do with abandoned cart because that was my pain at the moment. So once I got into this window, it was very straightforward. I could tell immediately that this is what's going to happen step by step. And again, first time for me seeing an email workflow, but it's clear that the trigger is when the cart is abandoned and I could edit it. I could edit the actual email, every part of it actually, and they also have a bunch of templates that I liked. And that's it. It outlays everything that's going to happen in the sequence, including different scenarios. And it was easy. I just edit every step and made sure it fits my tone of voice and I launched it. That's all.
Nice. Can you tell us how long it took you, including the actual edits and those kind of stuff?
Yeah, I would say maybe like 12 or 13 minutes end to end. And this is mostly went on me making the copies.
Okay, so we're talking about 12 minutes investment from your end. What was the return on this investment?
Yeah, it's safe to say that probably every 8 out of 10 abandoned cards were recovered.
So we're talking 80%.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
nice.
a very impressive stat. And when it comes to the actual bottom line, do you mind share with us not getting into numbers, but only percentage? What was the lift in terms of sales?
Yeah, that was an easy like 20% in revenue for my store.
And what you actually got from investing 12 minutes in setting up this recovery flow just one time, you got 80% lift in the recovery rate, and you got a lift of 20% in your bottom line.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an impressive and very ROI driven. It
Yeah.
actually gives me the goosebump to see the impact of a tool that we all working on. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? Also speaking about bottom lines, it's fun to use tools that keep web creation smooth and fun, you know? Like, I'm sure every web creator will agree with me. You just want to make sure that your website works well and your work streams very smoothly.
Yeah, I think regardless if you build it for yourself or build it for others, you want to make sure that the delivery will be smooth and there
That's
will
true.
be no surprises.
Yeah.
Maybe the only surprise is if you use Send, it will be surprisingly easy.
Only good surprises.
Yes. And speaking of which, I think it's also the time to remind our viewers now that the early access program is still up and running. We're still accepting applications. So use the time, submit your application. We will pick the eligible users that will join us into this program. Out of all the applications, the eligible one will get 50K free credits every month for a period of 12 months. That's a long period of free credits to make sure your website is up and running, your customer's website is up and running, and you have all the setup that you need to build a thriving business. Netanel, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiring story. I wish you best of luck with your store, with all tons of other projects that you're running at the same time. It's great to have you here, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you, Barak. My pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.